got a good one this time, and it's not a homebrew. It's a genuine Frankenradio. This is from my wife's side of the family. They're suspecting it was her grandfather put this together. This was a Crosley at one point, but he built this cabinet out of fruit crates. And if you see closely, there's a treble clef that's in here. And then of course our Crosley dial. It's very filthy. I'm going to try to resurrect the Frankenradio. Put a light on. Here's what you can see here. It's a replacement Magnavox speaker, pretty good sized as a matter of fact. And then inside, very filthy. Let's see what this originally was. I've had this on before. It's a model 5515 is what it was originally. Looks to be a super hit. That must be the rectifier tube. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4 tubes. Okay. Well, first thing I'm going to do, before I do anything else, start taking this thing apart and giving it a good cleanup. Yep, here it is. Chassis been pulled out of the cabinet. These wires go to the speaker. And looky here, I've always heard them called that, but they're the genuine name. Goat Shield. Let's see if I can get some more light. There we go. There's an 80 rectifier. That's probably 6K7, 6Q7, the normal stuff. And here's our dial. And by the looks of it, it is a friction dial. Let's see this. Yeah, that's what it is. Uses this plastic disc to move everything around. So let's see. Does AM and then just above AM up until about the 80 meter band by the looks of it. Let's see if I can turn that off. The shade. There we go. So yeah, this thing's gonna have to be cleaned up really good. Let's look on the underside. Transformer's kind of odd. I've never seen one like that before. Here we go. Looks all original. Don't know what these are. I imagine they're a capacitor in a can. You know, 3 or 4 capacitors. Which, well, I'm not looking forward to getting those out if I have to, but if I do, I will. Everything looks pretty much original for the most part. So, first thing we got to do, give this thing a good cleaning, and then we can investigate a little bit further. Here's the chassis recapped, and got our new electrolytics tucked underneath. These capacitors were kind of unusual. I've never seen anything like them. You notice they're all kind of clustered together with a common point. Well, that's exactly what these were. These are Cornell de Billier, or de Billier, again, trying to be French with it. It's Cornell de Billier Cubs, which I've heard of before, but I've never seen this type of model before. There's 2 capacitors in here. And the common is where I'm holding it. The common is this lug. So you've got one capacitor over here, you got one capacitor over here, they meet in this common, and this can either go to the chassis or you can have another lead attached to it. So, while I'm doing all this, this is about the only one I'm not too proud of. You can see in there, it's bare, but I don't think it's going to touch anything, and the lead is going to keep it from touching the chassis, but all these other ones, they all go to ground. So they've all been put in place. The electrolytics are in place here. These I found out are coils, so I'm not too worried about them. I don't have to worry about cutting anything open. And so far as I know, everything is ready to go, so I'm ready to power this up and see what it does. Speakers in place, connected to the radio, new power cord, going up to the Variac, set for 117 volts. Tubes have been tested, everything looks good. Let's give this thing a whirl. Everything is playing at your tone control, volume control. This actually is not volume to one of the output tubes. This is like an antenna input, and it's a valve to let in signals. So this thing is running full tilt boogie. This is the valve to let it open up. This is right on the antenna circuit. And then this is on WSM, by the way. Tuning control is friction drive. It goes against this plastic disc. And then this one's your band switch. I've already tried the other band, and it's as dead as a doorknob. So it might depend on what... well, there's something there. Don't know what that is, but... it probably just depends on antenna and something. I'm not too terribly worried about it. It's just to get this thing going, and it works on the AM band. That's what matters to me. So, at this point, I think it's ready to put into the cabinet. And speaking of the cabinet, I have something to show you with that. That's the cabinet, and what I've done is given it a good once-over of this Kramer's Antique Improver, which supposedly will feed nutrients back to the wood, make it look better. And I've seen this stuff work before, and I was most impressed with it. That's just one application. It just by itself has evened all this out and pretty much makes it look better. I think my wife's grandfather probably just put some light stain on the thing. There's the dial escutcheon, and just put a light stain on the whole shebang and then just let go with it. He probably used this as his personal radio at his home. I'll show you inside. You can see it's kind of faded. That says Orange Distributors. Other one, I'm not sure what it says, but it says like produce or something on there. And then over here, Pride of Laverne, wherever Laverne is, but they're fruit crate boxes. You can see where he's put everything together with it. So what I'm ready to do now is to reinstall the cabinet. I'm just going to give it a light once over. I don't expect to get a piano finish off this thing. It looks better than what it does. Even my wife, when she drove in, was most impressed with just the one application. So we'll go ahead and reassemble everything and give this thing a good worked over. And here it is. I'm going to go on ahead and sit down. We'll just deal with this.
And he has declared that the surest road to peace is to return the American nation to the principles of international law. Senate isolationists have answered with a promise to fight Mr. Roosevelt's program to the finish, 24 members of the isolationist bloc held a strategy meeting and pledged themselves to a vigorous stand against the president's policy, but they agreed not to resort to filibuster tactics. On the other side of the fence, Democratic leaders have banded together to push the administration's program. Senate Majority Leader Barkley says the Senate Democratic Steering and Policy Committees will meet...
So I'll say again what each thing does.
To limit the special session to
this is your tone control, volume,
is in accordance with the president's
tuning.
wishes.
That's the
Overseas,
band
the British
switch.
people have acclaimed Mr. Roosevelt's appeal for removal of the arms embargo. For to the British and French, such action by Congress would mean that they could arm their troops with American munitions. But sentiments are quite the opposite in Berlin. Nazi diplomatic quarters have welcomed the president's announced determination to keep America out of war. But Nazi leaders are bitterly critical of his demand for removal of the arms embargo. The Germans believe that the proposed cash and carry policy would work to the exclusive advantage of France and Great Britain. Incidentally, WJSB will carry a full broadcast of Mr. Roosevelt's speech tonight at 10:45. Ominous developments in the European war indicate that a major offensive may be launched on the Western Front at any moment. French forces are said to be driving further into Germany, while hordes of Nazi troops are moving up to meet their advance. At the same time, interest is centering on the smoldering Balkans after the assassination.
Now with this, the volume, you notice it drops down because this is actually controlling the antenna. So you got to bring this up. There's no automatic volume control on this. So what I should do is control both.
We have other surveillance tools which are lawful and which we continue to...
Check something here.
Sardine to the left side. Looking back to the right side. Leaves it for Stroh at the lines.
That was pretty good in terms of sensitivity. It's a cheapie.
Where your defense needs a stop. What's the mindset right now? Because the Steelers with 3 minutes to play, they need a stop. 2 timeouts.
That's a local.
Once again, like I said, 2 plenty of time.
I don't think he surveyed the field quite as well. He seemed to panic a little bit, especially in the second half as the pressure started coming. So if everything.
Get such amazing results, not just in pain, but in body function. So it's the chemistry you put in your body.
Maybe, yeah, okay, cheating, but look, you gotta.
There's WSM, the country station in Nashville. That's low end. So, pretty much it does okay.
C.O. Amico. With each ticking second, the history of the world is being rewritten. What's the news, and what does it mean? The American Oil Company, maker of the famous Amico gas, Orange American gas, and Amico motor oil, brings you the world-famous reporter Edwin C. Hill to tell you. And here is Mr. Hill.
Good evening, everyone. We hear from the national capital that President Roosevelt's neutrality program appears headed for a bitter battle in Congress.
So,
when powerful bipartisan bloc
this was a
24
fun little
members
project.
agrees to fight the
Very
administration
simple
on the
radio.
Fargo Field
Not much
proposal in the
to
words
it.
of one of the senators from hell.
And it's a family radio. Not my side of the family, but more the wife's.
That the existing act with its embargo on the
And
sale of
now,
weapons to
it's a
war
working
so
radio.
long as the historic policy of the United States as to impair
This was a Crosley
relations of this country
5115.
with foreign nations.
He went
But
on to say
now,
that neutrality, as he'd reminded Congress,
the
does not
Frankenradio
be delivered
lives
by legislation.
again.
A neutrality law may actually give aid to an aggressor, he said, and deny it to the victim. Self-preservation, he said, should